Man, I completely underestimated this story. What's up, guys? GemMint here. I recently showed this off in an omnibus haul. I always knew that Marvel Graphic Novel 1, The Death of Captain Marvel, was an important story in Marvel Comics. I never fully understood why until I finally read it, man. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, so first of all, to give you an idea of how large this edition actually is, we're going to put a regular comic book up next to it, and you can see that it absolutely dwarfs it. So you're going to get huge, oversized artwork in this book, and it's The Death of Captain Marvel, but what they include is some prior reading here. So you get Captain Marvel's first appearance in Marvel Superheroes issue 12, which is a two-part story, so you get issue 13. Then he gets his own series, so they give us issue 1 of that, then issue 34, which is very important to the final comic here. And it also has Marvel Spotlight issues 1 and 2. I didn't feel like those were that necessary, but we'll talk about it more when we get there. $35 cover price. Here's the spine of the book, and let's jump into it, guys. So we're going to start off, like I said, we're getting the Marvel Superheroes issue 12. We get the first appearance of Captain Marvel, who is a Kree warrior that actually goes by the name Marvel. He's on this kind of scouting mission from the Kree to investigate Earth because it's a place that they plan to invade and take over. So he is joined by Captain Jan Rog, or Commander Jan Rog, and his love interest, Una. Now, Jan Rog is secretly in love with Una, so he has this whole plan to either desert Captain Marvel on planet Earth or have him killed there as well. So first, it comes off very Silver Age Marvel, you know, kind of what you would expect from like a superhero story, secret identity, kind of working for like NASA, and uncovering a Sentry, which is a Kree type of Sentinel that's like an unbeatable machine, right? So that's where this ends up going. Jan Rog activates that Sentry to try to carry out his plan on killing Captain Marvel so he could steal your girl. It's Mr. Steal Your Girl, Jan Rog, right? So the artwork is very big, very Silver Age, like Kirby inspired, and it's okay. I mean, it's not the best thing, but there is a big payoff on this. Like I said, the Sentry character, these big, huge panels on this oversized format looks great, and it ends here. Now, it ends up picking up with his own magazine, and Stan Lee, of course, the great salesman, will say, hey, it was so popular that we had to give him his own magazine. So it continues the fight with the Sentry, and that whole kind of love interest thing. She's basically being held captive upon the ship, and it's really just a big battle, this whole issue here. So, of course, our hero, Captain Marvel, finds a way to destroy the unbeatable Sentry, and then it skips forward to Captain Marvel issue 34. Now, this time he has a new villain, Nitro, the man that can explode himself and reform his atoms. So this is an important story as well because the subplot here, Nitro's going after this like chemical that can destroy all of mankind. There he is exploding himself. Captain Marvel has a costume change here. And here's the vial. This compound 13 is what Nitro's after. As you can see, he has it right here. And that's going to be extremely dangerous to the planet. It ends up seeping out some of the contents. And Captain Marvel, he actually closes it with his fist, like the metal, so to contain the gas. Seemingly unimportant, but you realize how important this scene is later on here. All right, so then we get into this Captain Marvel, Spotlight on Captain Marvel issues 1 and 2. Now, what I didn't mention earlier is it does give us the first appearance of Carol Danvers in, Marvel issue 13. Which kind of is not really important in this book, but obviously she ends up becoming Miss Marvel and then Captain Marvel. So this story takes place in space. It has to do with Saturn and the moon Titan. You have Drax the Destroyer here, Mentor and Eros, the father and brother of Thanos. And it's this big cosmic battle with this kind of sentient computer who takes form in one of the villain's bodies and becomes an even bigger foe. The artwork is great here. The story, I don't know, I didn't really love it. I was kind of like, okay, what is this all about? What is this even for? But like again, you do get great artwork. Then we get into issue 2 here, which I thought was more exciting than issue 1. But it's pretty cool. Marvel cosmic stuff with Captain Marvel and team here. And this one too, Captain Marvel kind of does the unthinkable and like the beating an unbeatable foe. And it's kind of a theme here. It kind of feels like Captain Marvel was always destined to die because like even against Sentry, against Nitro, and against Isaac here, it's like he always was at the brink of death. So I thought that was kind of interesting foreshadowing. Now, up until this point, I'm thinking to myself, would I recommend this book? Would it get the Gem Mint seal of approval? And I'm thinking, nah, not really, man. It's kind of a basic Silver Age story, kind of a basic Bronze Age cosmic story. And then we get to the death of Captain Marvel in Marvel graphic novel, issue number 1, by Jim Starlin, colored by Steve Olive, lettered by James Novak, edited by the great Al Milgrom, and editor-in-chief at this time was Jim Shooter. So I always knew this was an important story because it was the death of a Marvel hero. That didn't really happen. And even to this day, it happens, but they always come back. But this was one of those characters that didn't really come back. Marvel graphic novel, I feel like it had a more mature take. You had big artwork here. Jim Starlin had room to breathe, and it opens up with Captain Marvel kind of recording his memoirs, which is funny because he's recording it on a cassette tape. I don't really know why he's recording his memoirs. While I'm reading it, I'm kind of like, okay, that's interesting. Here's the cassette tape. You kind of like assume that he dies fighting a villain or something. This is post his battles with Thanos, before Thanos' quest, before the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos is encased in stone. We find that somebody has put that statue on an altar, and then these guys have been secretly worshipping and awaiting the resurrection of Thanos, who they're looking at as a god. At the end of this battle, he starts to have like a coughing bout, and Eros and Mentor are like, what's going on here? And he starts to kind of tell you what's going on, that he knew something is wrong. He has cosmic awareness, and he can also point that N-word as well. So this is where this story really hits hard, man. On Titan, they call what he has the inner decay. The Kree, they call it the blackened. Earthmen call it cancer. Man, Captain Marvel is dying of cancer, and he's dying from the gas that was released during that battle with Nitro that was shown earlier here. Yo, when I found out that's what it was, I got it, man. This is such a deep book that relates to the real-world issues, real-world problems, and how Captain Marvel is dealing with his last days, how people around him are dealing with it. He has a new love interest now, Ulysses. She handles it pretty well. His partner, Rick Jones, not so well. So what I didn't mention in one of the earlier issues, and that's probably why it was included, is that there was a point where Captain Marvel was banished to the negative zone, but with like the quantum bands, he and Rick Jones can swap places, allowing him to, tag in and tag out. So they had a very tight relationship, and was that during that Marvel Spotlight on? It could have been. Jim Starlin showing all his villains, some that were villains and now friends, like the Thing and the Hulk, some that remain villains, like the Skrulls. We get some flashbacks on his battles with Thanos. Love this version of Thanos, the pre-Infinity Gauntlet stuff. This is him running up on Rick Jones. Rick Jones doesn't take it well. He has abandonment issues. He's an orphan. And it's just interesting and so well written how Jim Starlin is showing how different people accept this type of news. This is now Rick Jones going to the Avengers. Like, you guys got to find a cure. You guys are the smartest people on Earth. And then there's like this ethical dilemma. Why haven't we done this before? Like, if we can figure this out, are we bad because we didn't figure this out for all of mankind and only because our friend was involved? That was kind of deep as well. Reactions from his enemies getting this news over here with, what is this? The Skrulls, the Kree with the Supreme Intelligence, Uatu. Now, this is him telling Eros, hey, I know you always liked my girl. Like, take care of her when I'm gone. He sheds a tear. This is him now not even able to wear his costume. He's got to wear this type of containment suit to buy him some more time. The Avengers trying to figure out how to cure this cancer, but his Kree biology and his photon energy is making it difficult for them to do that. And this is all the Marvel heroes coming to see him on his deathbed, to wish him a farewell, to spend their final moments with him as he's sick in bed. Yo, super touching and mature. I mean, this is comic books. This is decades ago, man. Spider-Man, he doesn't handle it well either. People like the Thing, handling it a little bit better. Beast. Rick Jones finally coming and apologizing that he's been angry at him this whole time when he should have spent as much time with him as he could have. Drax coming up to him. Even his enemy, man, from the Skrull Empire, showing their respect on how, hey, even though we're enemies, we've always respected you and how formidable you were and this and that. Crazy stuff, man. And then what happens at the end is interesting. So he seemingly passes away, and you can kind of take this one of two ways. He either is having this vision in his mind that Thanos is coming back to life and that they're in this other plane of existence, kind of having this last battle. Thanos refusing to let him die this way, that he needs to die a more formidable death, that he needs to earn this death in battle with him. So then you have this thing that's either really going on in some type of other plane of existence or other dimension, or just in his head as he's dying. He's fighting these enemies and they're not really real. They're exploding like stone. Same with Thanos. Although Thanos comes back, introduces him to death. It's touching, man, as his heartbeat stops. And basically saying how death is only the beginning. And you get this amazing kind of big splash page here with all the Marvel heroes like paying their respects. Man, what a story. Before I give my final thoughts and whether or not it gets the GemMint seal of approval, a big shout out to the sponsor of this channel, Whatnot. Whatnot is easily the best place to buy and sell your comic books and collectibles. I'm going to be going live with an auction this Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, and I have a ton of omnibus, some single issue variants as well, and a few other surprises. If you use the link in the description and in the pinned comment, you'll actually get a $10 credit towards your first purchase, so use that on my auction on Wednesday. You can actually go ahead and bookmark that as well so that you get a reminder when I go live. Now, final thoughts on this. First of all, easily gets the GemMint seal of approval. Like I said, I didn't think it was going to get it when I was like through like the pre-reading that was kind of required. It did help with reading the final issue. I wasn't really there, but man, Marvel graphic novel, an essential read. This thing hits home, it hits hard, and totally can see why this is such an iconic an important story to comic books, man. The artwork is amazing, the storytelling is deep, and the emotions are there. I definitely recommend reading The Death of Captain Marvel in one way, shape, or form. You don't necessarily have to get this big, oversized issue, but it does help with the artwork, and it kind of helped me get through some of the earlier stuff that I didn't like as much, but it helped having this big, huge format so that you could really like soak it all in. But those are my final thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about Death of Captain Marvel in the comments below, and stay minty fresh. Peace.